So, in today's tutorial, we're going to show you how to rough in a basement box, or any box for that matter, in a residential wood stud. So what you're going to need is some staples if the wire's not already properly stapled down. You need a couple of 3-inch screws to fasten the box to the stud. You're going to need a vapor-tight box if you're on an outside wall like we are. For in behind the box, you're going to need a nail-on box with NMD clamps inside, usually indicated by an N on the clamp. This is a BC 2104 LLE. Should work great. We have a hammer, tool-wise, to hammer on the staples. We have Red Robertson to tighten down all the box screws. We have side cutters to cut the wire. We have strippers to strip the wire, of course. We have a knife to strip the wires. We have a marker, which will allow us to mark height for the box, measuring tape to get height of the box, and a drill to put in the big 3-inch screws. So let's go ahead. So first thing we'll do is mark the bottom of the box. So I often go 12-inch on main level and 16-inch in basement, or 18-inch. So today I'm going to go 18-inch. So we're just going to mark the bottom of the box with marker. We're done with our tape, and we're done with our marker. And then we'll put the vapor barrier box goes in behind the box. And the box goes on, there's 2 little stops. That's for the front of the stud. And there's a couple little sharp points at the back of the box. That's going to let it, we're going to be able to just tap the box into the wood and it'll hold it. And that'll hold it on. At that point we can grab our drill, a couple 3-inch screws. In my opinion, it's okay just to put a couple little 3/4 inch or 1-inch screws straight into the stud. Problem is, I've been caught by a couple inspectors that have told me that I need support straight through the box. Not sure why that is. I don't know where a box is going to go if you got a couple of 1-inch screws in it and it's a welded box like this. It seems ridiculous to me, but better to not have defects than to have defects. So let's not argue the fact, and let's just put some nice long screws straight through. You can also use nails, but I find screws give me a tighter hold. And there you go. Nice solid box with a vapor-tight seal. So now I'm going to grab my red Robbie and I'm just going to stick it in the holes and pop them both up because we have 2 wires coming in. We're going to grab one for each and fold them back. At this point we'll staple our wires down. I usually like to have a staple within a foot of the box. So we'll go even closer for that matter, right about there. Staple in on that one. Flatten the wire out a bit. And we'll throw a staple in the bottom one as well, and the other one. The staples have little stops on them, but just so you know, they're not made to solidly hold the wire. You should still be able to slip the wire in through the staple. They're meant to hold it in place, not to squish it. Now at this point what I like to do is we're going to strip the wires and we're going to enter them into the box, but it's nice to have a loop. Reason for this is if you ever have a problem in this box, everything in the box is going to be burnt possibly or dried up and cracked. If you don't have this loop, you're not going to be able to fix this without peeling drywall off. With this loop, it's a safeguard in the future. You'll be able to cut off the burnt wires and pull it into the box enough to give you a second life. So I'm going to put a loop on there. I always mark where I'm going to strip just for the bend. So we bend the wire. Grab our knife. Bring it right down along the ground wire. Once you get started, just angle it onto the ground wire. And just follow the ground wire down to your bend. Peel it back. that back. Boom. Then we're going to pop through our vapor barrier and into our box. And there's one wire. Neaten it up a little. Now we'll do our other wire. Same procedure. Give it the bend. Grab our knife. Right on the ground wire. Follow the ground wire. Now some people also actually just grab this ground wire out here and pull it. But I'd rather just ride it down with my knife. Seems a lot easier to me. Alright, I'll enter that wire in through the vapor barrier like the other one. Get a nice bend on there. Perfect. Perfect. So now, if you look in the box, we're gonna get, you'll see a stop in there. There's a little piece of metal. That's right where our stripped wire is gonna stop. It's just past the clamp, just a little wee bit. So the clamp will be tightening down on the insulation, the outer insulation. Then we're gonna tighten the clamp. You obviously don't want to crank this down. You'll create a hot spot in the wire there. Just enough to hold it. Okay, that's good. Now I like to get my hots and my neutrals bent up so I can see my grounds. My grounds are going to slip under that ground screw. Sometimes you got to open it up a bit. Then tighten it down. This can go pretty firm. Give you a good ground connection. Do the same with the other one. Tighten it down fairly firm. Okay, you can actually cut off one of these ground wires. Your receptacle is only going to require one. Your receptacle ground is going to be on the left, so I usually cut the right off. Snip it off. Now we have everything we need at a grotesque length here, so we're going to shorten them down. We need 6 inches in the box. I like to go about 8. Give a little extra. Now we're going to strip these wires back. Usually strip back. Depends on the receptacle you're putting in. Let me just grab my receptacle. I mean, this is just a tutorial for roughing, so we're not going to put it in. But this one is a wraparound. So we need to wrap it around the screws. There's actually back mounts in here too, but they're absolute garbage. Never use those. Any service electrician will tell you we repair those on a daily basis, burnt off wires. Loose connections, so we're going to actually wrap around the screw. So we're going to need hooks on all our wires to get around these screws. I believe most of these have a strip gauge, which I think is about 1 inch. If you want to use a strip gauge, go ahead. I actually usually strip a little more than that. And once you get a feel for it, you won't need any gauge. You'll be able to quickly strip the wires. And then most strippers, or all strippers that I've ever seen, have a little hole. Okay, that hole can be used to stick the wire in, just barely through, just so it's grabbing, and to bend a hook in it. Nice hook. That comes perpendicular with the wire itself. And hook that one, hook that one, hook that one, hook that one. Now at this point your roughing's complete, so what I would suggest doing is making a nice tight coil on these wires to get them in nice and deep into the box, because your friendly drywaller is going to come along and he's going to use a roto zip around this box. He's often going to end up on the inside of the box when he's trying to locate the box, and if his bit comes in too far, it's going to nail your wires, which is a good reason to have this loop again. But even better, just get him in there nice and far. He will hopefully your drywall or one of his depths so far to hit that, and you're good. and then we'll come back later and we'll put a receptacle on and put our cover plate on after the drywall's on. Okay, great. Thanks for watching. That's how to rough in a box on a wood stud.